Hey everybody, I'm Rick Beato. This is my friend Spanky.
Hello everyone.
We've been friends for 25 years or so, and he happens to be the Universal Audio rep here in Atlanta. So I recently purchased an Apollo, x8p. So here's the deal. I've been running Pro Tools 10 in my studio for the last, since 2009. Yep. I've gone through my third tower where the logic board's going bad, and it was finally time to upgrade. You guys notice that I don't do many videos here in the control room because I can't do screen capture on the computer. I can't use any of the plugins I use are all outdated. People don't have them. So I've upgraded my system with a computer and the new Universal Audio Apollo, and also the Apollo Twin volume control that can be used as a
monitor controller with more goodness.
With more goodness.
We can talk about the goodness in a bit.
We'll talk about that. So I bought it, and it has been sitting here unboxed for weeks. It's hard to learn a new system for me, especially since my assistant Ken, that you guys know, hasn't been around to come in and help reroute things. The routing on this unit uses a DB25 connector. I guess that's 25 pins, correct?
Sure.
Maybe it's not. And I have a patch bay here that has DB25 connectors. So simply you plug it in on the back of that, you plug it in the patch bay, and boom, you're ready to go. But it's not really that easy. With the Apollo, there's a thing called the console. And this is what Spanky's here to help me out with, is to really explain how this works. Because I'm one of the people, I can't read manuals. I'm not a manual guy. I have to actually have someone show it to me or mess around with it until I memorize. So we were out having lunch a couple weeks ago, and I said, hey, why don't you come over and you can help me learn this thing, and we can make a video and show me, you can teach me this. That way I can go back and refer to the video when I get lost in what to do, although he's going to set it up for me.
And I will take your phone call still.
Right.
That's right.
So, okay, so let's talk about this. What do you want to say about this particular unit?
Well, it's brand new for us. Well, brand new as in September, I believe. It's been updated in terms of the converters, more processing power for plugins, and the thing that I love about, I'm a user as well. I've been a UA customer for many years before I worked for the company, so I'm a real fan of what we do, and it's on the shirt. Bill talked about this yesterday at our company meeting. Craftsmanship. It's a real focus on quality. And to what I'm going to show you today is actually going to simplify this quite a bit. And I think in a lot of ways what we do is try to make something maybe complicated, if you will, simple. Because once I show you a console, you'll be like, oh, well, of course. And everything I'm going to show you, I learned from watching videos, reading the manual, and then just messing around and using it in my studio and putting it through its paces and going, oh, yeah, this is awesome. It makes my life easier. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make your life easier.
Okay, so my history with Universal Audio, I'm not endorsed by Universal Audio. I've used Universal Audio gears, 1176s, LA2As, LA3As. I've had them here in the studio forever. And I was a UAD1 user right when it first came out. I had it using it with my Mix Plus system. Mm-hmm. I believe it was Mix Plus at the time. Yeah. When I was running Pro Tools 9. And then I have a UAD2 card that I upgraded to that I have in my Hackintosh in the other room. So when I use Pro Tools in the other room, I use my UAD plugins in there, but I haven't been able to use them in here because I took the card out of it. So now these have the processing on board. The units do. The Apollo does. Yeah. The Twin, which is a really great thing with them. So, and they make amazingly great plugins. I know a lot of you that are out here that do this already know this stuff. So let's talk about how this integrates with Pro Tools, Spanky.
Yeah, so console here. This is really, if you think about it in let's rewind tape, if you will, back into the golden days of analog. You had consoles and outboard gear, and then you had tape machines, which there's one back there.
Yeah.
So you would dial things up via the console, right? And if you were using a hardware insert like like an 1176. You would insert into the channel and then route that to the tape machine, right? And maybe you'd set up some aux tracks for some verb or delays. And we're going to do the same thing here, but using UA plugins as a front end.
So is this replacing the mix window of Pro Tools in a sense?
We're still going to integrate with Pro Tools or any other DAW, right?
Okay.
But more as a tape machine, if you will, as a capture. it's going to capture what's coming through here.
Okay.
Because I can shut this program off, and this is still going to pass audio.
Okay.
The benefit with this, though, and your viewers will see, we're able to use UA plugins in real time.
With very little latency. Almost no. How much latency?
Our measured latency at 96K is 1.1 millisecond. It's right around 2 milliseconds
Amazing.
at 44.148. So, and because there's more processing, and actually that's one of the new features of the new Apollo X's, is that they have 6 hexa, which is basically 6 shark chips. So we can do up to 50% more plug-in power with this guy.
Okay.
So on the front end, it becomes this really powerful. When I say front end, I mean tracking. Obviously, you can use our plugins. When you're done tracking, this becomes an awesome DSP processor for UA plugins for mixing, mastering, sound design.
So wait, I just want to say this here. So one of the things that I really wanted Spanky to show me is how to use console, how to plug directly into it using its mic pre's, and then how do I use my mic pre's and get in and out of the system, and how do we route it to my SSL bus compressor, for example, if I want to run my mix out and print it back into Pro Tools. Those are the 4 things that we're going to focus on right here. Okay, so we have the guitar plugged up through my Jubilee, and we have it plugged directly into the mic pre's of the Apollo, correct?
Right. So 2 microphones on the cabinet.
Yep.
So to be clear, because we've actually modeled a Marshall Silver Jubilee.
This is actually my Silver Jubilee.
This is actually the physical amp, a 412 cab.
Yep. With vintage 30s.
That's right. 57 and a 412.
Yep. 421.
Well, of course.
A 412. 421. We're through at
412. 412.
Okay, so here's the 2 mics together. If you want to hear the 57 by itself, you'd go like this.
Right now they're grouped together, which is one of the nice things with console. So I'm going to unlink them so we can actually just hear. Here's the 50. I'm going to pan them still to one speaker.
Yep.
But here's the 57. Be clear, because you guys are seeing the screen right now, more than likely. There are no plugins engaged. This is just the stock mic pre's.
Yep.
And then we'll talk about plugins and Unison in a second here. But that's the 57. Here's the 421. And here's both of them together. One of the nice things here is we can link this together.
Then you're controlling both with one fader.
One plug. Yep, sounds really good. So one of the real benefits of Apollos is this process called Unison, where we've modeled all these different mic pre's. And what happens is there's an interaction between software and hardware, the hardware mic pre, when it's in this slot up here. I'm pointing the screen, but I'll just hover over it. So when you engage a plugin in this slot, and this would go for high Z as well as for the mic pre, what happens is a physical relay kicks in. The gain staging and impedance of the mic pre changes before conversion to match what's going on with the physical mic pre that got modeled. So you're getting the behavior of the mic pre much closer to the actual mic pre's, for instance.
Okay.
Right? So what we did together was dial up 3 different mic pre's to check out. So we'll start there. I'll take off the API. We'll start with the Neve because that's kind of where we started today.
Yep.
So I'm pulling up the Neve 1073.
Now this plugin I've owned since the very beginning. This is a newer version, but 1073 is one of the earliest plugins that you guys had.
Yeah, and this got updated to kind of a new version. A couple things. One, it's actually really the mic pre section.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing, I mean, this plugin can be used for mixing. It's on my vocal bus when I'm mixing. I love the sound of it. The benefit here with an Apollo is you can now track using that plugin
Track
as well.
through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's interacting with the hardware, so it's always committed. We're always printing. I'm going to leave this disengaged because we were messing around with an 1176 compressor.
Yeah.
But let's just hear what the mic pre does, then we can add in the compressor and see what that does for us.
Okay, so let's try it without first. So here it is with nothing, just straight
mic pre.
Mic pre
No
through the
unison.
Apollo, no unison. Here's with the Neve. Sounds killer.
Yep. Maybe, yeah, let's do this. Let's maybe swap that out and go, oh, cool. That was cool, but let's see what other choices we have. So let's try, I'm going to take this off. Choose the Helios.
Okay.
And I'm going to pull up the preset we dialed up before, where we worked on and we saved it. And you can see there's tons of choices here from some of the artists as well.
So can you leave this up where we can toggle between the two then?
Well, what we could do is this. I'll pull it up here, and I'll just drag and drop it over.
Great.
Just quickly, so. But here, I'll pull up that preset there. That'll be easy to do. But to be clear, we're hearing the Helios now.
On both microphones?
Yes.
Okay. That sounds killer. I love that.
Yep, me too. And here's the stock mic pre. I'll say that scientifically, we didn't sit here with a meter to judge volume.
Yeah.
So, but we try to match it up both sonically and looking at the meters. Because we're not trying to trick anybody and go,
Right.
oh, this is louder, so it's obviously better.
Right.
But
louder is better, though.
Louder is
Spanky.
always better. Truth. So stop, really good. And then here's the Helios.
Love that.
It's funny, sitting in front of it, it just feels more
Yeah, more forward.
and more just sort of like robust in the mid-range, and the top end's got a bit more.
Yeah, I can hear that. Man, that sounds good.
Yeah, so let's check out another. Maybe we'll just go round robin them on the three.
Yeah.
Let's check out the API. It's interesting hearing the Helios, which I thought sounded killer. The API mic pre's, physical mic pre's, usually my go-to for guitars. I just love the sound. That Helios was pretty rad. So this was and there's no EQ, no compression on any of those mic pre's.
Okay, so this is engaged now?
Yes.
Go back to the Neve. Can you do that?
Yeah, so let's just grab that, put that over there. Which brings up a really important point, that it's not just the way it sounds, but the way it feels.
Yeah, the way it reacts.
The
I'm
way it
playing
reacts.
a lot of chords instead of single notes, because with the chords, you can actually hear the harmonics, things like that, as opposed to playing just lead riffs or something. I think it's harder to tell, but when you...
And when just because we can, let's listen to the Helios one more time. I'll pull up the Rick preset.
Really like that.
Sounds great. Yeah, I mean, 3 mic pre's. I mean, 8. And we love analog gear. I have a bunch in my studio as well. But the expense of going to buy those mic pre's, and just switching them out, how quickly we're able to just dial stuff up. I mean, that's the thing I really liked about this.
Okay, so we have the mic pre's plugged in. I do have two 1073s, but I also have 1066 mic pre's, which are the same mic pre's as the 1073s. They just have different EQs on them. And we're not using the EQ, so we're going to check those out and see what they sound like. So now this is the actual real Neves plugged in through into the Apollo through the line side. So here we go. Sounds great.
Sounds great.
Print it.
It all sounds great. Yeah.
Okay, so next we're going to run the entire mix through my SSL bus compressor here. Now we do have a bus compressor. UAD makes a bus compressor plug-in, but I love my bus compressor here, and that this is a. I'm going to do a video on SSL bus compressors, but we're going to route it through that. And then we're going to record it back into Pro Tools. Well, let's route it through first. And let's see what it sounds like.
Hit default, and there's our SSL bus return.
Got it. Nice.
So now, for that input, I'm going to choose that. So I can see it. It's like, oh, that's what's
great.
going
That's
on.
Easy.
Yeah, and we could have done that for the outputs as well. So I'm going to turn input monitoring on. Just for an example, I'm going to start with the makeup at 0.
Okay.
And we're going to bring it up. Now I'm going to hit record. So obviously it's working.
Yeah. Make the attack a little quicker.
Sure.
Wow.
Sounds really good.
Yeah.
Ow. Obviously we'll make up, but the glue.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds great.
And that's a way you would be able to utilize your analog gear, print it back in. Easy.
Perfect. Maybe we can do another video in the future where we talk about recording a drum set through here and
That'd be awesome.
and how we would do that once we have the patch bay completely sorted out with it. Thank you, Spanky. Appreciate
My pleasure.
it.
My man.
Remember to subscribe, give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in the Beato book, you know what to do. Thanks for watching.